Data centers all over are full of technologies still running in the off chance they need to be accessed. These old technologies can only be as searchable as the applications allow, plus, there's no way to place legal holds on data based on modern expectations. The IBM mainframe is the oldest of these legacy application platforms, going back over 50 years, that also have the greatest cost and data center footprint to keep operating. You see here in this graphic the history of the mainframe going back 25 of those years. You can see where the Z10 models that were shipped 8 to 12 years ago are now going end of life, based on the red segment of the lines. Platform 3 Solutions and their Archon product helps organizations to reconcile and simplify their enterprise systems through archiving the data in the same context as the original system and make it completely searchable and bring a modern discovery capability that inherits your organization's legal standards and expectations. Archon, in working with OpenText Info Archive as the repository for your organization, can quickly and completely decommission your mainframe. Through the Archon suite, you have all the tools you need to connect to and analyze your legacy DB2 environment, extract what's needed to keep, and take that knowledge and automatically set up the archive to receive data and have some of the same search and outputs that existed in your legacy system. If we kind of where we're starting as an organization, you have your mainframe DB2 environment here, where you're going to have to go in and operate still in a very batch-based process to go in and execute queries to try to do your own migrations. What you're limited to, though, is exactly what SQL gives you. And if you want to take this on, this isn't just running SQL against your databases. You also need to go get your systables to understand what's going on. How can we make this easier for you? So let's get into the demonstration. Archon brings a complete administrative dashboard to make this effort integrated, complete, and encapsulate best practices through machine learning and automation. It also includes a broad set of tools depending on the type of technology you're needing to archive and retire. Archon begins by validating that it can connect to the environment it's looking to retire. In this particular example, we're going to click on the mainframe profiles and validate that our connectivity is available. We now want to analyze the database to best understand the data, their relationships, discover their joint columns by analyzing the data, and understand from a bigger picture what's going on within the context of the relationships. Within the Metalizer engine, the data definitions are extracted from the sysmaster tables in DB2, and the data itself is interrogated to identify joined columns automatically. Most of the effort of the team is to validate this auto-matching effort. If manually joining tables is necessary, it is all a point-and-click experience, whether it be a single-column join or a multi-column join. Once all of the data relationships are established, the administrator can visually evaluate the accuracy of their effort. At any time, they are able to create visuals of the application's data layout by automatically creating entity relationship diagrams showing all of the columns, their keys, certain data rules like if null values are accepted or not, and the table relationships themselves. It is also possible to extract data flow diagrams so they can evaluate how the flow of the data was through the application. We're now ready for the mainframe extractor to run to connect to the DB2 database and pull off the data. The extraction process is a multi-threaded engine that allows scaling of the effort depending on the available CPU and networking resources. It also allows the breaking up of files if they are very large and you have file system limitations, and the capturing of other metadata is possible, for instance like record counts, database views, and the DDL itself. The next step is to set up the receiving repository powered by OpenText Info Archive. The AI app automator is a simple step that takes the information extracted through the analysis effort within the Metalizer and auto-configures Info Archive automatically. Once this is established, we're then ready to take on the next step, which is moving the data. The IA data ingester now executes the simple task of loading Info Archive, the extracted DB2 data, into the repository with all the same unique attributes and data relationships that existed in the original system. One important aspect of any application retirement is validating the legal chain of custody for the data itself. The resulting repository needs to defensively show that the data is migrated properly so the legal and compliance team within the organization is comfortable with the outcome of the effort. Now that we have the new repository ready to go, the final step is to create query reports and screens that make sense for the users. The Archon Ad Hoc Query Builder makes this possible through a wizard-like user interface that will automatically create these screens and reports inside Info Archive. since it has a complete understanding of the data definitions and relationships. This is a drag-and-drop development effort non-technical people can engage in. It begins by defining the tables themselves involved. Next, what fields will users be able to search and filter on, and how, depending on the data type, including input functions to validate the data is formatted properly for the search function. Finally, how do you want the report to be laid out using a more modern browser and data visualization paradigm, like primary data in the main panels, detailed records using the inline panels, and detailed metadata below that within side panels. Now let's go into Info Archive to see the results of our efforts. Once we log in, there are a host of query screens available to us that are automatically generated by Archon. You can see our reports bring us to the search fields we would define for users and enable browser-based interactions using the main, detailed, and side panel reporting efforts with no coding whatsoever. Here's a simple example of a table of countries and their detailed relationships related in the inline panels. If we look at the query and the report we previously created, we use the main and inline panels, and it is also auto-generated for multi-page browsing. All of these reports will be given greater attention to make more appealing, and the entire web presence can be customized to your corporate standards. We hope you took away the sum of what Archon and OpenText Info Archive can do to help any mainframe-based DB2 environment be retired. We showed how you can connect to the mainframe, interrogate the data and systables of the legacy system to reverse engineer and validate data relationships and context, execute a scalable extraction process depending on the available resources, automatically configure Info Archive, and load the data into the repository with the generation of a chain of custody report, and finally, make it easy through a wizard-based experience to create query screens and engaging browser-based reports based on the needs of the business, both today and tomorrow. Now, making it possible to get closer in retiring that mainframe. But the journey doesn't stop there. Archon can take on any number of legacy technologies with specific capabilities to analyze, extract, and automate the setup of the final archive so you can retire that technology. Learn more at platform3solutions.com.